Don't. Please, don't do this to me. A desperate scream pierces through, drowning out the lively music at a lavish Los Angeles party. Ava Morgan, 8 months pregnant, is pushed into the glowing pool by the cold hand of her husband's mistress. The guests think it's a staged performance, but as crimson blood spreads across the crystal-clear water, horror erupts. It seems fate has sealed her doom, but then, a mysterious man, a billionaire stranger, dives into the pool. Who is he? And why is he there at that critical moment of life and death? Crystal chandeliers sparkle like falling stars. Smooth jazz echoes through the sprawling Beverly Hills estate overlooking the glittering Los Angeles skyline. That night, everything is orchestrated to be unforgettable. White linen tables, gleaming crystal glasses reflecting candlelight, and an infinity pool shimmering like a giant mirror in paradise. The elite mingle in a festive atmosphere, champagne flutes clinking, laughter blending with whispers about the power couple, David Miller and his wife, Ava Morgan, the music star who once captivated America. But beneath the glamorous surface, a dark undercurrent flows, unnoticed by most. Ava stands by the pool's edge, her hand resting on her swollen 8-month belly. Her face is flawlessly made up, her golden hair perfectly styled, but her eyes are clouded, flickering with unease. Guests shower her with compliments, congratulating her impending motherhood. But for Ava, it's not joy, it's fear, a shadow that engulfs her daily in this house. David, her husband, commands the party's center, his smile as radiant as a Broadway star. He raises a glass, delivering grand words about their perfect family and glorious future. The crowd erupts in applause, enchanted by his aura of success and power. But Ava knows the truth behind his mask, a controlling, cold man who sees her as little more than an ornament for his ambitions. Worse still, tonight, something feels off. Not just David's scrutinizing gaze, but the presence of Sophia Lee, the woman in a sleek black silk dress, her smile sharp as a blade, clinging to David at every turn. Sophia. Ava knows her role but can never expose her. She's not just the other woman. There's a chilling edge to her, as if she revels in pushing Ava to the brink. As the party reaches its peak, David raises a hand, silencing the crowd. The music stops. Spotlights focus on the pool. He speaks. Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is not just a celebration of our family. I want to give you a historic moment. The debut of our child. Right here, amid light and love. The room gasps, applause and cheers erupting. No one knows exactly what he means, but they're swept up in the grandeur of his performance. Ava freezes, her blood turning to ice. One question screams in her mind: what is he planning to do to me and to this child? Sophia steps closer, her hand lightly touching Ava's back, whispering just for her, "It's time. All eyes are on you." The words cut like a knife. Ava shakes her head, stepping back, but behind her lies only the still water reflecting the lights. The crowd cheers, expecting a staged spectacle. Only Ava knows this is no game. This is a trap. The air grows thick with tension, as if one small push could shatter the glittering facade, revealing the horror beneath the dazzling lights. And then, Sophia's hand tightens on Ava's back. Before she became the trembling woman by the pool, Ava Morgan was a voice that enthralled millions. Over a decade ago, with her flowing blonde hair and raw, soulful voice, she dominated radio, TV, and massive stages. She wasn't just a pop star. She was an icon of youth, freedom, and ambition. People remember Ava from the 2010 seconds as an unquenchable flame. Her songs topped Billboard charts within days, her tours sold out nationwide, and her eyes sparkled with unshakable belief every time she sang. At 22, she was hailed as America's golden storm. But fame is fleeting. The pressure from her management, tabloid scandals, and broken romances crushed the young star. Ava began to spiral, late to shows, lost in nights of drinking, and dogged by unproven rumors. The tabloids gleefully dubbed her the fallen angel, tearing down the idol they once adored. That's when David Miller appeared. Not a singer, not an artist, but a tech mogul, young, wealthy, powerful, and cunning. With a confident smile and promises to save Ava from the media storm, he entered her life like a savior. At first, Ava thought she'd found a safe harbor, David shielded her from brutal press conferences, fended off paparazzi, and whispered, "You don't need to run anymore. Just stay with me." But that love wasn't freedom. It was a gilded cage. The Beverly Hills mansion seemed like paradise at first. But soon, Ava realized she rarely left without David by her side. Calls from old friends dwindled, then stopped. Music, her only passion, was shelved. "You don't need the stage anymore," David said. "Just be a mother and a wife." Ava complied, not because she believed him, but because she was too exhausted to fight. She thought it might bring peace, but peace in a gilded cage is an illusion. David controlled everything: her clothes, her words, even her food. His sweet promises turned to commands. When Ava became pregnant, his grip tightened further. "This child is our future. You'll do exactly as I say." Sometimes, Ava stood by the window, gazing at the city where she once reigned. Just miles away, those lights used to be hers. Now, they felt like a distant dream. Worse was Sophia Lee's arrival, introduced as the family's personal PR consultant. But Ava saw through her from the first glance. Sophia wasn't just a colleague. She entered the house with arrogant confidence, her sharp eyes scanning Ava like an intruder claiming territory. Sophia was everywhere, in meetings, on trips, even in the living room where Ava sat silently with an unopened book. David no longer hid it. Sophia's presence was a message. Ava had no power in this house, except for the growing belly she carried. Ava wanted to leave countless times, but where could she go? No family left, friends gone, career in ruins. David had masterfully convinced the world that Ava Morgan, the former star, was now just the lucky wife of a powerful billionaire. Who would believe her if she claimed she was a prisoner? Night after night, Ava heard laughter from the living room where David and Sophia clinked glasses. She sat in the dark, clutching her belly, wondering if her unborn child could hear the lies. Then came the invitation to the family celebration. David called it a chance to announce their child to the world, a media spectacle. But Ava's heart trembled when she saw the gold-embossed invitation. She knew nothing in this house was ever just a celebration. That party would be the stage for a different kind of drama, and she was the starring role. If David Miller was a charming mask hiding greed and cruelty, Sophia Lee was sweet poison wrapped in silk. She swept into the mansion like a fresh breeze, alluring, intelligent, poised, and seemingly devoted to the Miller family. To guests, Sophia played the close friend to Ava, a modern woman who admired and supported her. "Ava is so strong," she'd say, grasping Ava's hand in public, her smile warm but her eyes cutting like invisible blades. Outsiders saw a touching bond, as if Sophia were a trusted sister. But to Ava, each compliment was a gilded dagger. Sophia knew how to dress to stand out without overshadowing Ava, at least in public. Her black silk dress hugged her frame, her long hair cascading in waves, her smile soft. Every detail was calculated to seem humble yet radiant. Guests whispered, "Sophia's amazing. Ava's so lucky to have her." But behind closed doors, the mask fell. In private moments, Sophia leaned close, her breath ghosting Ava's ear like a sinister whisper. "He used to belong to a star. Now he's with a broken-winged bird. Ava, all you have left is that belly." Ava stayed silent, her hands instinctively shielding her stomach. Each of Sophia's words wasn't just meant to humiliate. They drained Ava's strength, bit by bit. Sophia didn't come to David for love. She came for power. To her, David was the perfect springboard, rich, ambitious, and ruthless enough to align with her. Ava was merely a name, a tarnished brand, a shadow of the past. But to secure her place, Sophia needed one thing: to erase Ava entirely, leaving no spark for her to cling to. It was Sophia who conceived the pool party idea. She whispered to David, her voice sweet as honey, "No one's ever dared to do this. Let Ava give birth in front of everyone. It'll be unforgettable. They'll call you a visionary, a trailblazer, and she'll be nothing but proof of your power." David, drunk on his own ego, was instantly captivated. He didn't see that, beyond boosting his fame, the plan served Sophia's own agenda: to humiliate and endanger Ava, pushing her to the edge of destruction. In the weeks before the party, Sophia orchestrated every detail. She chose the flowers, approved the menu, tested the poolside lighting, and ensured every camera lens would focus on Ava at the precise moment she was forced into the water. "We have to show the world," she said, her eyes gleaming with not just excitement but sadistic delight. At times, Sophia played the caring friend. She'd visit Ava's room, bringing ginger tea for her dear sister during bouts of nausea. But as she set the cup down, she'd whisper, "Strange, isn't it? A woman who once had the world at her feet, now reduced to that swollen belly. Did you ever think David keeps you only as a trophy?" Ava bit her lip until it bled but stayed silent. She knew any reaction would only please Sophia more. Each day, Sophia grew closer to David, fueling his pride while stoking his ambition. "You're not like other men," she'd say, her hand on his chest. "You deserve to be seen as a leader, an icon. Ava will make that happen, whether she wants to or not." David smiled, believing he controlled the game. But in truth, Sophia was the one pulling the strings. The night before the party, Ava overheard whispers from David's room. She stood frozen outside the door, heart pounding. Sophia's laugh cut through, sharp, triumphant. "Don't worry, David," she said. "Tomorrow, the world will know who you are. And Ava, she'll never lift her head again." Through the half-open door, Ava saw their silhouettes, too close, too intimate. She turned away, tears streaming down her face, but her hands clenched tighter than ever. She knew. Tomorrow wasn't just a party, it was a trap, and Sophia was the serpent coiled around her fate. The music swells again, no longer soft jazz but a powerful drum beat, pounding like Ava's heart. Spotlights swirl, casting red and blue streaks across the pool, transforming it into a massive stage. Guests cheer as David steps into the light, his white suit pristine, his smile dazzling. Beside him, Sophia glides like a goddess, her black silk dress clinging to her, a microphone in hand, her voice honeyed. "Ladies and gentlemen, tonight is more than a party. Tonight we witness history, the birth of the next Miller generation. And who will bring us this miracle? The beautiful woman standing there, Ava Morgan." All eyes turn to Ava. She stands trembling by the pool, her eyes wide with terror. Hundreds of phones rise, flashes bursting like a summer storm. The crowd thinks this is a choreographed Hollywood spectacle. Ava takes a breath, wanting to step back, but behind her is only the cold water. The drums pound relentlessly, urging her forward. She looks to David, hoping for a shred of humanity. But he only nods, his smile beaming, like a director proud of his twisted masterpiece. Sophia steps closer, her arm lightly around Ava's back, her whisper slicing through. "It's time, sister. Show the world your final shine." Then, without hesitation, Sophia's hand presses hard. Ava's body sways, her white silk dress billowing under the lights. And then, crash. She plunges into the water. For a moment, the room erupts in applause, cheers echoing. They think this is the climax of a grand show. But seconds later, as Ava doesn't resurface, as red blood spreads across the water, the applause turns to screams of panic. Blood. Somewhere in the impact, something inside Ava has torn. The red stain drifts, spreading, painting the pool like a tragic canvas. Some guests drop their phones, screaming in horror. "She's drowning. This isn't a show. Someone do something." But David stands frozen, his smile strained, his eyes dark, as if he can't reveal the truth. Sophia remains by the pool's edge, her lips curled in a cruel smile, her eyes like a predator savoring its kill. Ava struggles beneath the water. Her belly weighs her down, her dress tangling around her legs. Water floods her mouth, her lungs burning. She reaches up, desperate for someone to pull her out. But all she sees are blurred shapes through the blood-tinted water. Time stops. Screams, music, and chaos blend together. And then, a powerful splash rips through the surface. A man, not a guard, not a familiar guest, but a stranger, elegant yet cold, dives in. Michael Anderson, a reclusive tech billionaire, rarely seen in public. No one expected him here, and no one understands why he leaps without hesitation. Michael wraps his arms around Ava, pulling her to the surface. His breaths are ragged, his hair plastered to his face, but his eyes burn with fierce determination, as if he's not just saving a woman, but redeeming something within himself. Guests scream, some filming, others calling for help. The air is chaotic, lights flashing, ambulance sirens wailing in the distance. David shouts, "No, don't touch her." But his voice falters, lost in the cacophony. Sophia stands frozen. For the first time in months, her smile vanishes. Michael carries Ava to the poolside, cradling her trembling, ice-cold body. Blood still seeps, stark red against her pale skin. He yells, "Call an ambulance now! If we're too late, both mother and child won't make it." The crowd can no longer tell what's real or staged. But in Ava's eyes, looking up at Michael through tears, she knows. This moment has changed everything. The ambulance doors fling open, red lights flashing across Beverly Hills' streets. Michael holds Ava tightly, her body cold, her breath shallow. Paramedics take the stretcher, but Michael doesn't step back. He stays close, his hand gripping Ava's blood-stained one, as if letting go would make her vanish. In the chaos, David appears, rushing forward, shouting at the medics, "She's my wife! I'm her legal husband! I'm going with her!" Michael turns, his eyes icy, blocking the stretcher. She needs doctors, not another actor. His voice isn't loud, but it cuts sharper than the ambulance sirens. Guests, still reeling, watch as phones capture every second. In the footage, Ava, the fallen star, is saved by a billionaire, while her powerful husband shouts helplessly. The ambulance speeds off. Michael sits inside, eyes locked on Ava. In the flickering red and blue lights, her face is ghostly pale, blood staining her white dress. A paramedic shouts, "Blood pressure's dropping. Prepare for transfusion, hurry!" Michael clenches his fist, a flicker of fear in his eyes. Not just pity, but something deeper, as if he carries a personal responsibility for this woman. Los Angeles Memorial Hospital. The sterile hallway glows white, reeking of antiseptic. Ava is rushed into emergency surgery. The doors slam shut, leaving Michael outside, his hands trembling. He's seen billion-dollar deals collapse, tech empires crumble, but he's never felt this powerless. David arrives soon after, his shirt still damp, his face frantic but his eyes blazing. He points at Michael. "Who do you think you are, meddling in my family?" Michael turns, his gaze sharp as a blade. "I'm the one who saved your wife. Without me, she and the baby would have died at your insane party." David clenches his fists, stepping forward, but hospital security steps in. Reporters crowd the lobby, capturing the confrontation. Sophia is there too, standing quietly, her silk dress pristine, her makeup flawless. But if you look closely, her lips tremble, not from fear for Ava, but because her plan has gone off the rails. Time crawls. In the operating room, Ava fights for every breath. Blood is transfused, scalpels flash. Outside, Michael stands still, while David paces like a caged animal. A doctor emerges, his voice urgent. "The mother is stable, but we couldn't save the baby." The air freezes. Sophia lowers her eyes, hiding a fleeting smile. David clenches his jaw, not from grief but from the realization that his perfect family image has shattered before the world. Michael closes his eyes, his fists tightening. He steps toward the doctor. "Do everything to keep her safe. I'll cover all costs. Consider her life in my hands." David scoffs, interrupting. "Who do you think you are? You're just a bored rich guy playing hero. Ava is my wife, not yours." Michael opens his eyes, locking onto David. His voice is low, like a verdict. "You might buy the world, but you can't buy the truth. And the truth is, you pushed your wife to the edge of death." The words echo, silencing the room. Camera flashes burst, capturing every expression. Sophia grits her teeth, her eyes darkening, knowing the power struggle is now in the public eye. In the recovery room, Ava wakes. She's weak, her eyes blurred with tears. She feels a hand holding hers. Looking up, she doesn't see David, but Michael. The man with steady eyes, saying little, just staying there, letting her know she's not alone. The room is bathed in pale white light. The steady beep of the monitor echoes like a heartbeat through the broken pieces of Ava's soul. The antiseptic smell lingers, mixing with the hurried footsteps of nurses outside. Ava lies there, frail, her eyes barely open after a long coma. Her hand instinctively rests on her now flat stomach. Nothing is there, an aching void. She turns her head, tears welling like a tide. Images flood back, the blood-streaked pool, the screams, Sophia's cold hand. All a nightmare she can't escape. Michael sits by her bed, his eyes resolute. Seeing her awake, he gently takes her hand, squeezing it, as if passing her his warmth. Ava looks at him, her lips trembling. "My baby, where is it?" A heavy silence. Michael doesn't answer immediately. He takes a deep breath, searching for the softest words. But Ava's eyes already know the truth. Tears spill onto her pillow. She sobs, her shoulders shaking. No more applause, no more flashes, no more cheers. Just an irreparable loss. Michael leans closer, his voice low and rough. "You're alive, Ava. And that is no accident. You have to keep living." His words are a fragile thread pulling her from the abyss. But deep in her mind, a new fire sparks. The truth that someone stole her child, and that someone is none other than David and Sophia. Outside the hallway, David paces like a trapped beast. The press is relentless. Clips of Ava's fall and Michael's rescue flood social media. Headlines blaze. Fallen star betrayed in $1 million mansion. Mysterious billionaire Michael Anderson saves Ava Morgan. David Miller, model husband or murderer. The perfect image David built over years crumbles in a single night. He slams his fist against the wall, shouting, but every move only fuels the reporter's frenzy. Sophia steps forward, placing a hand on his shoulder, her voice soft but venomous. "Calm down, David. A great play never ends in the first act. Let me handle this. And you, remember, Ava is still in our hands." David turns, his eyes blazing. He knows she's right. Ava's survival means she's still a weapon he can control, if he plays it right. But what worries him is Michael, the man who disrupted his perfect performance and is now hailed as a hero. That night, the hospital is eerily quiet. Moonlight spills through the window, casting cold shadows on the white tiles. Ava stirs, startled by an odd sound. The door creaks. A figure slips through. She opens her eyes wide. Not a doctor, not a nurse. A man in a black hoodie, his face obscured. Metal glints in his hand. A knife. Ava's heart stops. She can't scream. Her throat locks. The figure moves slowly, his shadow stretching long across the floor. The knife's reflection catches her eyes, desperate yet burning with rage. Just as the blade rises, the door bursts open. Michael charges in like an arrow, tackling the stranger to the ground. The knife clatters. Their bodies grapple, the impact echoing in the once quiet room. Michael pins the man, his arm locking the stranger's throat. The intruder struggles, hissing. He will never let her live. Then he laughs, a crazed sound, before hospital security rushes in to restrain him. Ava lies frozen, sweat beading on her skin. The man's words echo. He will never let her live. She doesn't need to ask who he is. She knows. David. Michael turns, panting, his hair disheveled. He steps to Ava, gripping her shoulders, his voice hoarse. "It's okay now. I'm here. I won't let them touch you again." Outside the window, Sophia stands in the shadows, her lips curling into a cold smile. She's unfazed by the assassin's failure. Her eyes gleam like a fire fueled anew. "Save her, Michael," she whispers. "Keep saving her. You'll never know what game you've stepped into." Dawn breaks over Los Angeles, a pale light veiling the glass skyscrapers. In the hospital room, Ava sleeps after a night of nightmares. Outside, Michael leans against the window, his gaze distant, his hand gripping a cold coffee cup. He knows he's entered a war with no retreat, and this morning, the enemy arrives. The clack of dress shoes echoes down the hall. David Miller appears, in a dark suit, his face pale from sleeplessness but his eyes burning with power. Behind him, two lawyers carry thick folders. Sophia is absent, a detail that heightens Michael's guard. David stops at Ava's door. Michael steps forward, blocking it. "She needs rest," Michael says, his voice low and sharp. David smirks, his familiar arrogance returning. "She's my wife, Anderson. Without your interference, she wouldn't be in this mess." Michael meets his gaze, unblinking. "She almost died. In your hands. I saw it all, and so did the world." David's voice hardens, each word a blade. "You don't understand. Ava belongs to me. Everything she has, fame, money, her life. I decide. You're just an outsider playing hero. Michael doesn't flinch. His calm hides a steely resolve. You're wrong, David. Ava isn't a possession. She's a person. And from now on, I won't let you touch her again. The air crackles. Nurses passing by pause. The two men face off like forces ready to explode. David laughs dryly, masking his boiling rage. You think you can take me on? I'm David Miller. No matter how much money you have, you can't touch the power I hold. Michael steps closer, inches apart. His voice is low, each word a hammer. Money buys media, power buys lawyers, but you'll never buy the truth. And the truth is you tried to kill your wife. David falters for a moment. Those words aren't just a personal blow. They're a truth millions have seen online. He knows his image is crumbling. A lawyer steps in, trying to defuse. Mr. Anderson, please. Our client faces no charges. This was an accident at a party. Michael cuts him off, his eyes blazing. An accident? Then who hired the knifeman last night? Who sent him to Ava's bed? David stiffens. The lawyers exchange uneasy glances. Michael presses on. I've turned him over to the police. He didn't say much, but enough to point to you. And trust me, David, I won't stop until you pay. The air thickens. David snarls. You don't know who you're messing with, Anderson. I don't just have money. I have an empire. Michael doesn't back down. Then get ready, because I have an empire too, and I'll use it to protect Ava. For a moment, the hallway holds its breath. A silent war is declared. No longer a suspicion, but a direct confrontation. David steps back, his face cold. He signals his lawyers to leave, but before turning, he leans in, whispering just for Michael. She'll never escape me, and if you try, you'll go down with her. Michael watches him leave, his jaw tight. In his eyes, there's not just anger, but a resolve. This fight is no longer just Ava's. It's a battle between light and darkness, between those who possess and those who protect. He turns back to the room, seeing Ava asleep. On her pale face, he sees not just a victim but a woman whose wings were broken. And he vows, at any cost, he'll help her fly again. During her hospital recovery, Ava lives suspended between two worlds. The cold glow of neon lights and the heavy shadow of nightmares. She wakes at night, drenched in sweat, her hand clutching her empty stomach. Each time, Michael is there, calmly handing her water or sitting silently, letting her know she's not alone. But Ava knows the pain isn't just loss. Behind this tragedy lies a horrifying truth, and she needs to face it, even if it shatters her heart again. That afternoon, a young nurse slips into the room with a bag of documents. She whispers nervously, "Someone asked me to give you this. They said, you need to know." Ava opens the bag. Inside are printed IJ emails, an insurance contract, and candid photos. Her hands tremble as she reads. Cold words leap from the pages. Emails between David and Sophia. "We can't let the baby exist. It'll ruin your image." The party is the perfect opportunity to dazzle the public and eliminate the burden. An insurance contract, signed a month ago, worth tens of millions, naming Ava as the beneficiary, but only if she doesn't survive childbirth. Photos. Sophia and David on a balcony, too close, laughing intimately. A note reads, "His true woman." Ava reels. No more doubts, no more venomous whispers. This is proof. Her child was never seen as a life, just a pawn in their power game. Tears burn her lips, salty and bitter. She recalls David's words, "Just be a mother and a wife." Sophia's mocking glances, her slicing whispers. It forms a single picture. She was a prop, a sacrifice for their fame. Michael enters, carrying the scent of fresh coffee. Seeing the papers and Ava's hollow eyes, he stops. "What's wrong?" he asks softly. Ava hands him the documents, her voice breaking. "Look at this. They planned it. That night wasn't an accident. They wanted me dead. They wanted my baby gone." Michael scans the pages, his face darkening. His usually calm eyes blaze with fury. He tosses the papers onto the table, pacing to control himself, then says slowly, "I suspected, but seeing it like this, I swear, Ava, they'll pay." Ava buries her face in her hands, tears falling endlessly. But amid the pain, a spark ignites. She's not alone anymore. Someone stands with her. Someone will fight for her. Across the city, Sophia sits in a luxurious penthouse. On the table, a newspaper screams, "Michael Anderson, hero or meddler?" She smiles, sipping red wine. David enters, his face etched with exhaustion. The news is everywhere. I'm losing contracts, shareholders demanding answers. Sophia sets her glass down, her voice icy. Don't worry. The world only remembers winners. We just need to remove Ava from the board, permanently. Last time failed. Next time, there'll be no mistakes. David looks at her, his eyes a mix of dependence and fear. He knows Sophia isn't just his lover. She holds his secrets, the one who'll drag him to hell if he turns away. Sophia raises her glass, toasting the air. The game's not over, David. It's only begun. That night, Ava sits by the hospital window, gazing at the city lights. In the glass, she sees herself, no longer the radiant star, no longer the obedient wife. Just a woman who's lost everything but holds a truth that could burn down the Miller empire. She whispers to herself, "They wanted me dead, but they forgot. I'm still alive." The hospital is silent, its white halls stretching endlessly, neon lights flickering like they guard unspoken secrets. Ava sits on her bed, head against the pillow, her eyes dry after a day without tears. The documents, proof of David and Sophia's plot, rest in a drawer. Each touch reignites her rage, laced with fear. Michael remains, sitting by the window, his face stern under the city's glow. He says little, but his presence makes the room less empty. Around midnight, Ava dozes briefly when a soft click sounds. The door opens. A figure in a white coat enters. Why a doctor now? Ava wonders, her heart racing. The man says nothing, moving closer, his hand reaching into his pocket. A flash of steel, not a stethoscope, but a sleek, sharp knife. Ava freezes, her body rigid. The figure advances, the knife raised. But before he can strike, Michael surges forward like a storm. A crash. They hit the floor. The knife clatters. The man struggles, but Michael pins him, his moves precise, like someone trained. In the dim light, Michael's face turns cold, ruthless, unfamiliar. Security rushes in, restraining the man. He laughs wildly, gasping. "He will never let her live. You can't escape." Ava shudders. She knows he is David. But in that moment, a doubt creeps in. Michael's takedown wasn't the reflex of an ordinary man. It was skill. His cold eyes, his decisive grip, not a desk-bound billionaire, but someone familiar with darkness. Ava stares at Michael, a terrifying question rising. Who is he really? After the police take the stranger away, the room falls quiet. Michael sits, wiping blood from his sleeve. Ava doesn't look away. "Where did you learn that?" she asks, her voice trembling. Michael meets her gaze. A flicker of hesitation, then, "In my world, Ava, money isn't always enough. I had to learn to protect myself." "Your world," Ava repeats, shivering. She realizes, beyond his vague media presence, she knows nothing about Michael Anderson. Where's he from? Why was he at the party? Why did he dive in to save her, a near stranger? Michael stays silent, his eyes on the city lights, sparkling like stars. Finally, he says softly, "I know what it's like to be trapped. I couldn't stand watching you go through it. That's all." Ava grips the blanket, torn between trust and suspicion. His answers are always half-truths, hiding something deeper. Elsewhere in the hospital, David sits in a limousine parked blocks away. Sophia pours red wine, swirling it leisurely. "Failure," David growls, slamming his fist on the seat. "That idiot got caught, and now the police are on my trail." Sophia sips, her eyes cold. "Don't panic. You think it's over. But I have another move. Let Michael save Ava as many times as he wants. It'll expose his weakness." David turns, wary. "What do you mean?" Sophia's smile makes the wine seem thicker. No one enters Ava's life without secrets. Not even Michael Anderson. 5. In her room, Ava tosses, sleepless. The knifes clatter, Michael's icy gaze, his cryptic words echo in her mind. She knows the war isn't over. David and Sophia won't stop until she's gone. But what terrifies her most is if Michael, her only anchor, is hiding his own darkness. A week after the bloody hospital night, Michael decides to move Ava out of Los Angeles. "You're not safe here," he says firmly. Ava doesn't argue. Every day in the hospital is a day of fear, of doors opening, of invisible hands at her throat. Michael takes her to a secluded Malibu estate, where waves crash against cliffs and gulls glide over deep blue water. The house is isolated, surrounded by high-tech security. This is Michael's fortress, a place few outsiders have entered. Ava steps inside, awestruck. Glass walls open to the sea, light flooding the minimalist, elegant interior. But what catches her eye is the basement security room. Surveillance screens, alarms, a compact arsenal. Does a tech billionaire need such weapons? Michael sees her gaze. He replies, half-truthful. "The world isn't as simple as you think, Ava. I have enemies, and I can't let them get close." Ava doesn't press, but her doubts grow. Still, she feels safer here than in the hospital, or so she hopes. That night, Ava sits on the balcony, watching the sea. Wind tosses her blonde hair, waves murmuring endlessly. Michael steps out, draping a blanket over her. "Do you think they'll stop?" she asks, weary. Michael stares at the ocean, his gaze distant. No, David's lost too much to admit defeat, and Sophia, she doesn't know retreat. They'll keep coming. But, he turns, his eyes fierce. "This time I'll strike first." Meanwhile, downtown, David and Sophia sit in a dim room, the only light from surveillance screens. Sophia's fingers glide over a keyboard, her lips curling. "You think Michael can protect her in Malibu?" she says. "He forgets who I was. I have eyes everywhere." David frowns. "Are you sure? I can't afford another failure." Sophia's eyes gleam with cruelty. "This time, there'll be no mistakes. I'll turn his house into their grave." 2 days later, Ava wakes in the estate. The sky is clear, waves soothing. It's almost too peaceful. But when she enters the living room, Michael is gone. In his place, a scribbled note. "Urgent business. Back before dark. Stay inside. Don't go out. M." Ava clutches the note, her heart heavy. She hates being left behind, even knowing Michael means to protect her. Dusk falls. Shadows stretch across the marble floor. Ava sits by the window, hearing a strange sound, a steady ticking from the kitchen. She approaches, her pulse racing. Under the table, a small device blinks red. A bomb. Her blood turns to ice. She stumbles back, tripping over a chair. The ticking speeds up, counting down to death. "Michael!" she screams, but the house is empty. She drags herself toward the front door, her trembling hands punching the security code. But then, boom! An explosion rocks the house. Glass shatters, fire roars, knocking Ava to the floor. Black smoke chokes the air, the acrid stench burning her lungs. Ava crawls, coughing, her ears ringing, the world spinning. Through the haze, a figure sprints toward her. Michael. He scoops her up, pulling her out as flames engulf the room. They collapse on the lawn, Ava trembling, her chest tight. Michael shields her from falling glass. The house burns behind them, a blazing fireball, its red glow reflecting in Ava's horrified eyes. Michael grips her shoulders, panting. This is just the beginning. They've declared war. In a distant limousine, Sophia watches the flames from afar. She sips her wine, her smile icy. "Beautiful fire," she murmurs, "but not enough. I want them reduced to ashes." The Malibu estate's flames still smolder as police, firefighters, and reporters swarm. Blue and red lights dance on the night sea, creating a chaotic, eerie scene. Michael and Ava are wrapped in rescue blankets, still trembling from the lingering heat. Ava breathes heavily, her chest aching, her eyes wide at the spectacle. Reporters push forward, microphones raised. "Mr. Anderson, do you believe David Miller is behind this explosion? Miss Morgan, can you confirm your life is in danger?" Michael pulls Ava close, shielding her from the flashes. His voice is rough but firm. "No doubt about it. This wasn't an accident. Someone wants us dead, and every clue points to David Miller." His words hit like a second bomb. Reporters clamor, cameras capturing every moment. Within hours, headlines scream, "David Miller suspected in assassination plot against wife," and billionaire Michael Anderson. Miller empire crumbles amid murder allegations. The next morning, downtown Los Angeles, David Miller exits his company's skyscraper. Tense, flanked by lawyers. As he nears his limousine, a megaphone blares. "David Miller, you're under arrest for suspected murder, conspiracy to murder, and property destruction." Blue and red lights flash. Dozens of police swarm, cold handcuffs snapping around his wrists. The crowd erupts. Cameras roll. David turns, forcing a smile, strained but dripping with arrogance. "You think you've won?" He snarls, his eyes locked on the lenses, as if speaking to Michael and Ava. Sophia watches from a sleek car, her eyes tracking the scene, her lips curling slightly. No panic, no regret, just cold calculation. At the hospital where Ava and Michael take shelter, the TV broadcasts David's arrest live. Ava sits upright, clutching the bed's edge. She can't believe she's seeing the man who caged her now cuffed in public. Michael steps closer, resting a hand on her shoulder. "He'll pay. This is the end." Ava stares at the screen. David shoved into a police car, the crowd jeering, flashes bursting. Relief flickers, but a dark premonition quickly overshadows it. "Do you think it's really over?" she asks, her voice trembling. Michael falls silent, his eyes darkening. He knows a public arrest doesn't end a man like David. It's just a new move in the game, with Sophia still holding a hidden card. As Ava feared, hours later, Michael's phone buzzes. An anonymous text, just one line. "You think cuffs will hold him long?" Michael grips the phone, his jaw tight. He looks up, his eyes flashing with vigilance. In the detention center, David sits quietly in a cold cell. His lawyers are already moving for bail. But what keeps his smile intact is a smuggled phone slipped through the door, with a brief message from Sophia. "Plan B is ready. Just wait." David smirks, leaning against the wall. He knows the battle isn't over. He has cards left, and Sophia won't let him fall alone. That night, Ava dreams of the blood-streaked pool again. But this time, as she surfaces, it's not just David pulling her down. Another hand, soft, cold, grips her wrist. Sophia. Ava bolts awake, her heart pounding. In the dark, Michael sits, guarding like a fortress. But Ava knows what lies ahead is more dangerous than anything she's faced. Morning breaks over Malibu, the sun casting golden light on the waves. Ava stands on the balcony of Michael's new safe house, her hair dancing in the breeze, her simple white dress fluttering, her eyes catching the dawn's glow. For the first time in years, she breathes deeply without fear of flashes or lurking shadows. Though the pain of her loss lingers, she feels a new chapter beginning, one she'll write herself. Michael steps out holding 2 steaming coffees. He hands her one, a soft smile breaking through. Not the grin of a cold billionaire, but of a man who's chosen to stand by her, no matter the cost. "Thank you," Ava whispers. Michael nods. "Don't thank me. Just promise one thing. From now on, no one defines your life but you." Ava grips the coffee, its warmth seeping into her. She knows he's right. Too many years were spent controlled, caged, a prop in others' power plays. Now, despite a past of blood and tears, she holds the most precious thing, freedom. That day, Ava opens a blank notebook. She writes her first melodies in years. The notes start shaky but grow bold, confident. Music returns, not as a moneymaker, but as a voice to save her soul. Michael watches from afar, his eyes bright with faith. He knows Ava isn't just surviving, she's being reborn. But in the shadows, not everyone welcomes this rebirth. In an underground Los Angeles bar, Sophia sits in a dim corner, her hair loose, her lips curling as she watches a news clip. David Miller detained. Miller Empire falls. She sips her wine, her eyes blazing. In her hand, a small USB holds classified data on Michael, secrets Ava doesn't know. "You think saving her was victory?" "Michael," she murmurs, her fingers brushing the USB. "You've just tied yourself to my game, and this time, I won't lose." In his cell, David sits, hands cuffed, but his face holds no fear. His lips curve into a sinister smile. A smuggled note arrives, just 4 words. Plan B begins. He closes his eyes, leaning back. A low, hoarse laugh escapes, echoing like a promise of an unfinished nightmare. Back with Ava, that evening, she sits at an old piano Michael brought. Her fingers glide over the keys, crafting a gentle melody. In that moment, she's no longer a victim, no longer David Miller's wife, but herself, Ava Morgan, the woman whose voice once silenced the world. She closes her eyes, letting the music lift her. But when she opens them, the moonlight casts long shadows, a cold reminder. Darkness still waits, ready to devour her newborn light. Ava knows her journey isn't over. Her child is gone, but the fight remains. David hasn't let go. Sophia lurks, and even Michael, her steadfast ally, carries unrevealed secrets. The story closes as Ava sits at the piano, her notes trembling but resolute in the night. She's lost so much, her career, her child, her faith in love. But what she's reclaimed is worth more, herself. From a puppet in others' hands, Ava has learned to seize her fate. But is this freedom truly hers? With David's sinister smile behind bars, and Sophia, the woman in silk, holding Michael's secrets, the question lingers. Sometimes, to survive, you must walk through fire and carry the darkness still clinging to your skin. Ava's story reminds us, in pain, there's a chance to be reborn. But rebirth means you must fight for every breath of freedom. What do you think? Can Ava truly escape the vortex of power and vengeance? Or is she stepping into another gilded cage? Leave a comment below and share this video, because the next part might hold the answer.
My heart shattered when I discovered his betrayal. Isabella Prescott, 5 months pregnant, felt a pain like a dagger piercing her heart when she uncovered that her husband, tech millionaire Julian, was entangled with Scarlett Vane, a seductive predator. In the dazzling glow of Los Angeles, Scarlett believed she had triumphed, but Isabella was quietly weaving a web of vengeance, transforming betrayal into strength. A story of resilience, power, and healing will leave you breathless. Walk away now, and you'll miss the most devastating revenge. Who will stand tall when the secrets explode? Scarlett Vane glided forward like a blazing meteor, ready to incinerate every barrier on her path to conquest. At 27, she was the embodiment of relentless ambition, with shimmering golden hair cascading like California sunshine and a lethal smile that could melt the heart of anyone. Born in a small town on the outskirts of Ohio, where endless cornfields stretched into eternity, Scarlett once dreamed of a life far beyond those simple days. Now, in the heart of Los Angeles, she had turned that dream into reality, step by calculated step, with razor-sharp charm and instincts honed over years. From her days as a bartender at a luxurious West Hollywood bar, Scarlett had learned to read people like an open book. She observed how millionaires communicated, how they flaunted power through firm handshakes or glasses of expensive wine. Every smile, every glance she offered was calculated, like a perfectly choreographed dance. That bar, with its dim lights and whispered conversations about million-dollar deals, was her true school. There, Scarlett didn't just learn to pour drinks. She mastered the art of slipping into the minds of powerful men. She understood that in this world, beauty was the key, but intellect was what kept her in the game. Scarlett's ambition knew no bounds. She wasn't satisfied with extravagant gifts or fleeting yacht trips. She craved more, a place among the elite, a name revered, and above all, a man who could hand her the world. Her ultimate target was Julian Prescott, a 40-year-old millionaire leading the Synergy AI tech empire worth hundreds of millions. Julian wasn't just a successful entrepreneur. He was a symbol of the American dream, a self-made man who rose from the slums of Detroit to become the center of every gaze. To Scarlett, he was the golden ticket, the pinnacle of every plan she'd ever crafted. The opportunity arrived on a dazzling evening at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, where Los Angeles' elite gathered for a grand charity gala. Scarlett had prepared meticulously, studying the guest list with the precision of a strategist. She knew Julian would be there, and she left nothing to chance. Her weapon of choice was a sleek black silk dress, its bold cut striking the perfect balance between allure and elegance. Her high heels clicked rhythmically on the marble floor, each step radiating the confidence of someone hunting the biggest prize of her life. In the ballroom, light from crystal chandeliers danced on champagne flutes, creating a fairy tale scene. Scarlett moved through the crowd, her smile radiant as the sun, her eyes scanning powerful faces. She chatted with investors, laughing gracefully at their bland jokes, but her mind was fixed on one person. When her gaze finally locked with Julian Prescott standing just a few meters away in a perfectly tailored suit, her pulse quickened, like an athlete poised to sprint toward victory. Tall, with salt and pepper hair and piercing eyes, he exuded the aura of a man who always held control. She approached, feigning a casual stumble into a conversation about cutting-edge tech projects, a handshake, a fleeting smile, a brief greeting that was all it took to ignite the spark. But for Scarlett, that moment was the start of a grand game. She felt Julian's attention, his eyes brushing over her, if only for a second. It was the spark she needed, the sign that he'd been caught in the web she'd spun. Deep within, a flicker of triumph ignited. She knew she'd laid the first brick of a monumental plan, one that would change her life forever. Yet, amidst the gala's glamour, Scarlett remained oblivious to the fact that her every move was being watched from afar. Somewhere in the shadows, another pair of eyes, cold and resolute, was silently observing, preparing for a battle Scarlett could never have foreseen. In a world of power and betrayal, no one wins without paying a price. Julian Prescott stood at the pinnacle of fame, yet his heart was lost in a dangerous vortex of temptation. At 40, he was a vivid symbol of the American dream, a self-made man who rose from the dark alleys of Detroit's slums to become a tech titan with the Synergy AI empire worth hundreds of millions of dollars. With salt and pepper hair, a confident smile, and piercing eyes, Julian could persuade anyone in a boardroom to invest millions in mere minutes. But behind the polished exterior and billion-dollar deals, he carried an unnamed void, a yearning that the glow of fame could not fill. Born into a working-class family, with a father who fixed cars and a mother who worked part-time at a supermarket, Julian learned early that only intellect and perseverance could alter fate. He toiled relentlessly, from sleepless nights coding in college dorms to high-stakes pitches before investors in Silicon Valley. Synergy AI, his brainchild, revolutionized the artificial intelligence industry, propelling Julian's name onto the covers of Forbes and Fortune. But that dazzling success came at a cost: loneliness. His marriage to Isabella Prescott, a brilliant Harvard-educated wife now pregnant with their first child, was his pride. Isabella was not only a talented lawyer, but also a bridge to the elite through her powerful San Francisco shipping family. They were the perfect couple in the public eye, gracing glamorous photos at Beverly Hills events, but deep down, Julian felt an invisible distance. Isabella, with her sharpness and preoccupation with pregnancy, seemed no longer the woman who once set his heart ablaze. That emptiness became a fatal weakness when Scarlett Vane entered his life. After their eyes met at the charity gala at the Beverly Wilshire Hotel, Scarlett began to infiltrate Julian's mind like a melody he couldn't shake. Discreet coffee meetings at a small Venice Beach cafe quickly escalated into secret rendezvous at a luxurious Santa Monica penthouse. Under the radiant sunset, with views of the Pacific Ocean, Scarlett became an irresistible drug Julian couldn't resist. She brought the spark he craved: boldness, allure, and a hint of danger. Each time she smiled, each late-night text with sweet whispers, Julian felt alive again, as if reclaiming a piece of youth lost to years of career sacrifice. But that temptation came with a price. Each time he left Scarlett's penthouse, Julian felt a sharp pang in his chest guilt at the thought of Isabella, at home, gently resting her hand on her pregnant belly, trusting him completely. He told himself it was just a phase, that he deserved this thrill after years of sacrifice. But deep down, he knew he was walking a tightrope between the empire he'd built with sweat and tears and the enchantment of a young, ambitious woman. Scarlett wasn't just an adventure. She was a storm approaching, threatening to sweep away everything he held dear. The evenings at the penthouse stretched on, filled with glasses of red wine and vague promises of a future Julian hadn't dared to fully envision. Scarlett, with her fiery gaze, seemed to see through his soul, stirring desires he'd buried deep. But each time he returned to the Bel Air mansion where Isabella was preparing a nursery for their unborn child, Julian felt his heart constrict. He looked at her, with her soft brown hair and gentle eyes, and wondered why he'd let himself stray. Yet, each new message from Scarlett pulled him back, like an addict unable to quit his fix. While Julian drowned in the whirlpool of betrayal, he was unaware that his actions were being watched. A pair of cold, resolute eyes, hidden in the shadows, was silently recording his every misstep. In the glamorous world of Los Angeles, where every secret has a price, Julian stood on the brink of a collapse he never saw coming. At 35, she was not only a brilliant Harvard-educated lawyer, but also the heir to a powerful San Francisco shipping dynasty. 5 months pregnant, Isabella should have been immersed in the joy of preparing for her first child, but her heart was gripped by the crushing signs of betrayal from the husband she once trusted completely. Julian Prescott. Instead of letting pain consume her, she chose to transform it into a fire, igniting a sophisticated plan of revenge powerful enough to shake the glamorous world of Los Angeles. Isabella had always been a woman of intellect and strength. Raised in a powerful family, she learned from her father, Edward Langley, that true power lies not in ostentation, but in controlling everything from the shadows. At Harvard, she honed her razor-sharp mind, becoming a lawyer who could make adversaries tremble with a single glance. Her marriage to Julian was once proof of perfection, a power couple appearing together at Beverly Hills events where the flash of press cameras never ceased. But now, the troubling signs from Julian late nights at work with no explanation, hurried phone calls cut short when she entered the room, and his evasive gaze had awakened the fighter within her. Isabella was not a woman who would easily crumble before betrayal. Each night, as moonlight streamed through her window, Isabella sat in her walnut-paneled study, quietly examining the smallest details. She noticed a strange perfume lingering on Julian's suit jacket, receipts from a Santa Monica hotel he'd carelessly left in his pocket. Instead of confronting him directly, she chose to act in silence, like a panther stalking prey in the dark. With chilling composure, she contacted Marcus Kane, a former FBI agent who had worked for the Langley family. Marcus, with his reserved demeanor and eyes sharp as a blade, could unearth any secret, no matter how well hidden. Isabella entrusted him with a single mission: to follow Julian and uncover the truth behind his lies. Under Isabella's guidance, Marcus began his work with astonishing efficiency. He traced Julian's steps, from Venice Beach cafes to a luxurious Santa Monica penthouse, where he discovered Scarlett Vane's presence. Distant photographs, recovered text messages from Julian's phone, and hotel receipts sent by Marcus were pieces of the betrayal puzzle Isabella was quietly assembling. Each document was placed on her desk, like cards in a game she was determined to win. But Isabella didn't just want evidence, she wanted a lesson that Scarlett and Julian would never forget. In her heart, the pain of betrayal intertwined with love for her unborn child. Each time she felt the baby's movements, Isabella reminded herself that she was fighting not just for herself, but for her family's future. She began crafting a meticulous plan, not only to protect the empire she and Julian had built together, but also to teach Scarlett that no one could take what was hers without paying a price. She consulted with legal advisors, quietly reviewed Synergy AI's financial accounts, and prepared a strategy that would stun all of Los Angeles. Isabella was not the weak wife Scarlett mistook her for. She was a warrior, ready to deliver the final blow. While Julian drowned in Scarlett's intoxicating allure, and Scarlett dreamed of a powerful future, Isabella silently wove an unbreakable web. Each move was calculated with a strategist's precision, but her heart remained heavy with a question. Could she salvage this marriage? Or was it nothing but ashes of betrayal? In the dim light of Bel Air, Isabella stood, a pregnant woman with the strength of an empire, ready to face the storm ahead. Under the dazzling lights of Los Angeles' extravagant events, where ambition burns fiercely and dreams are priced in dollars, Scarlett Vane strides with the confidence of a predator catching the scent of victory. At 27, she believes she has captured the heart of Julian Prescott, the tech mogul behind the Synergy AI empire, and stands on the threshold of the powerful life she has always dreamed of. Every smile, every glance she casts at Julian is a precisely aimed arrow, and she can feel him slowly ensnaring himself in her web of ambition. But in the arrogance of a victory she believes is within reach, Scarlett remains blissfully unaware that every step she takes is being watched, second, by Isabella Prescott, the sharp-witted, pregnant wife who is preparing to unleash a revenge that will leave all of Los Angeles stunned. Amid the intoxicating moments in a Santa Monica penthouse, Scarlett resolves to accelerate her plan to seize Isabella's place. No longer content with clandestine meetings or late-night texts, she yearns for the world to know she is the woman at Julian's side, destined to become the new Mrs. Prescott. With the audacity of someone with nothing left to lose, Scarlett begins appearing at high-profile events, where the elite gather and the press lurks. At a Silicon Valley launch for Synergy AI's latest product, she arrives in a striking, form-fitting red dress, commanding every gaze in the room. She deliberately positions herself near Julian, ensuring the paparazzi capture their side-by-side moment, a silent proclamation that she has claimed him. Those photos quickly spread across tabloid pages, sowing seeds of doubt about Julian and Isabella's marriage in the public's mind. Scarlett believes Isabella, weighed down by pregnancy and the responsibilities of preparing for her unborn child, is in a vulnerable position. In her mind, Isabella is a passive woman, easily overshadowed by Scarlett's youth and allure. In a moment of hubris, Scarlett sends a bold text to Julian from her luxurious West Hollywood apartment, provocative words like a declaration of war, asserting that she is his future and Isabella is merely his past. She envisions a day not far off when she will stand atop Los Angeles' elite, clutching the power and wealth Julian represents. Each time she looks in the mirror, she sees a queen awaiting her crown, and she cannot suppress the triumphant smile spreading across her lips. But that confidence blinds Scarlett to the dangers lurking around her. During a dinner at an upscale Malibu restaurant, she can't resist confiding her plans to Lila Torres, a close friend from her days working at a West Hollywood bar. Lila, with a worried look in her eyes, warns Scarlett that she's playing a dangerous game, that Julian is not a man who easily relinquishes his empire, and Isabella is not a woman to be underestimated. But Scarlett, intoxicated by her illusion of victory, brushes off the advice. She laughs loudly, raises her glass of wine, and declares that no one can stop her. In her mind, Isabella is nothing more than a fading shadow, too weak to rival her charisma. Every move Scarlett makes, from her calculated appearances beside Julian to her audacious texts, is a strategic card played in a game she believes she's destined to win. She dreams of a life in Beverly Hills mansions, private jet getaways, and the spotlight of being the most powerful woman by Julian's side. But she fails to see that every action is being documented, every moment of arrogance paving the way for her own downfall. In the shadows, Isabella is quietly weaving an unbreakable web with the help of private investigator Marcus Kane. Every photo, every text, every public appearance by Scarlett is meticulously recorded by Isabella, like pieces of a puzzle soon to be revealed to the world. While Scarlett revels in her delusion of triumph, she remains oblivious to the storm gathering on the horizon. Isabella, with chilling composure and razor-sharp intellect, is crafting a plan that will make Scarlett pay dearly. In the glamorous world of Los Angeles, where every secret can become a weapon, Scarlett stands on the edge of a defeat she could never have imagined. Under the dim glow of the law office in Bel Air, where secrets are concealed beneath a lavish facade, Isabella Prescott sits at her desk, her eyes piercing like a smoldering flame ready to ignite. Pregnant in her 5th month, she is not merely a future mother, but a masterful strategist, meticulously weaving an elaborate web of revenge to safeguard her family and her empire. While Scarlett Vane indulges in fantasies of a powerful future alongside Julian Prescott, Isabella, with her razor-sharp intellect and the backing of formidable allies, silently positions every chess piece. Poised to flip the board on the game, Scarlett arrogantly assumes she has already won. In Los Angeles, where every smile might hide a dagger, Isabella is gearing up to deliver a devastating financial strike that will force her adversary to her knees. Building on Scarlett's arrogance, as she brazenly flaunts her presence at public events, Isabella refuses to let emotions cloud her judgment. She knows that to vanquish a predator like Scarlett, she needs more than mere accusations. She requires irrefutable evidence and unyielding power. With an astonishing calm that borders on chilling, Isabella reaches out to Victor Lang, the CFO of Synergy AI, a man loyal to her since the company's earliest days. Victor, with his stern gaze and profound grasp of the numbers, agrees to assist Isabella in probing unusual expenditures from the company's accounts. After long nights poring over data, they uncover a shocking truth. Julian has funneled millions of dollars to Scarlett through a shell company named SV Ventures, disguised as strategic consulting. Each transaction stabs at Isabella's trust like a betrayal, yet she transforms her pain into fuel, vowing to sever the financial lifeline sustaining Scarlett's ambitions. Isabella does not act alone. She turns to her father, Edward Langley, a shipping magnate in San Francisco, renowned for turning connections into weapons. Edward, with his silver hair and eagle-like eyes, understands the true value of power in high society. He leverages his influence to pressure Synergy AI's board of directors, demanding an urgent internal audit. The payments to SV Ventures are frozen immediately, plunging Scarlett into a financial crisis. Her extravagant bills, her shopping sprees on Rodeo Drive, and her opulent lifestyle begin to crumble as the flow of money from Julian abruptly halts. Scarlett, once so certain she held everything in her grasp, now starts to sense the unease, like a trapped animal unaware of who the hunter truly is. Parallel to the financial assault, Isabella artfully bolsters her public image. She hosts a charity event at the Four Seasons Hotel, appearing in a pearl-colored silk gown that radiates elegance and unyielding strength as a devoted wife and expectant mother. Journalists hail her as an icon of resilience, while the public remains oblivious to her calculated maneuvers in the shadows. At the event, Isabella smiles brilliantly, shaking hands with donors, but her mind is always fixed on the greater objective. In a private room at the hotel, she meets with Clara Bennett, a lawyer specializing in financial litigation, who helps her draft a legal strategy to ensure Scarlett loses not only her fortune but also her reputation. Every move Isabella makes is a meticulously calculated strike. She doesn't just want to protect her family, she aims to send a resounding message that no one can touch what belongs to her without paying dearly. While Scarlett drowns in her delusions of victory, Isabella is constructing an impenetrable fortress, with each piece of evidence serving as a sturdy brick. She envisions the day Scarlett confronts the truth, when her rival's glamour fades before the world's eyes. But deep in her heart, Isabella still grapples with the ache of betrayal, haunted by a lingering question. Can she ever forgive Julian? Or is everything reduced to the ashes of a love that once burned so brightly? In the glittering lights of Los Angeles, Isabella stands tall, a pregnant woman wielding the might of an entire empire, ready to unleash the final blow. Each action brings her one step closer to triumph, yet also deeper into the storm of harsh realities. Will Isabella's financial net prove strong enough to shatter Scarlett's ambitions, or will an unexpected twist overturn it all? Stay tuned to discover. In the charged atmosphere of the year's grandest tech conference, Scarlett believes this moment will define her future, crowning her as the queen of Los Angeles' elite. But she remains utterly unaware that Isabella, with her razor-sharp intellect and a meticulously crafted plan of vengeance forged over months of silent preparation, is poised to turn the tables, reducing Scarlett's arrogant dreams to ashes before the watching world. In California's glamorous yet ruthless realm, a dramatic showdown is about to erupt, leaving the entire audience breathless. Following the financial trap Isabella has masterfully set, Scarlett feels the pressure as the flow of money from Julian abruptly dries up. But instead of retreating, she chooses to strike more recklessly than ever. With the brazen confidence of a predator with nothing left to lose, Scarlett sneaks into Synergy AI's press conference, wielding a forged press pass to bypass security. She dons an emerald green gown, shimmering like the lights of San Francisco Bay, capturing every gaze as she strides into the packed auditorium. The crowd, from investors to media, buzzes with excitement at her unexpected appearance. Scarlett stands there, her smile radiating pride, convinced this is her chance to publicly claim her relationship with Julian and humiliate Isabella before the world. She envisions headlines heralding her as the woman who toppled a high society marriage, propelling her name to the pinnacle of fame. As Julian and Isabella take the stage to unveil Synergy AI's latest product, camera flashes blaze like lightning. Julian, in a sleek black suit, struggles to maintain his confident facade, but his eyes betray unease as he catches a glimpse of Scarlett in the crowd. Isabella, draped in a silver-gray silk gown, exudes elegance and unyielding strength like a queen ready to defend her kingdom. The moment Scarlett rises to her feet, the auditorium falls into a stunned silence. With a razor-edged voice, she loudly accuses Julian of infidelity, proclaiming herself his mistress and claiming he promised to leave Isabella for her. The crowd gasps, cameras swivel to capture her, recording every second of the scandal erupting before them. Scarlett feels adrenaline surging through her veins, as if she has just ignited a fire to burn everything to the ground. But just as Scarlett believes victory is hers, Isabella steps to the podium, her gaze as cold as ice, yet her smile as gentle as moonlight. With astonishing composure, she locks eyes with Scarlett, then turns to the crowd, her voice ringing clear through the microphone. She declares that Scarlett has attempted to blackmail the Prescott family, exploiting illegal financial transactions to manipulate Julian. Isabella announces she will assume the role of interim CFO of Synergy AI, a move that sparks a thunderous wave of applause from the audience. The evidence she and Victor Lang have painstakingly gathered from receipts to SV Ventures transaction records is presented to the press, overshadowing Scarlett's accusations. Security swiftly moves in, escorting Scarlett out as she screams in desperation, the relentless flashes of cameras trailing her exit. The press, once Scarlett's hoped-for weapon, now turns to praise Isabella as an emblem of resilience and intellect. In that moment, Scarlett feels her world collapse. Her dreams of power, of Beverly Hills mansions and high society glamour, dissolve like sea foam on the Pacific shore. Isabella, with her brilliance and determination, has transformed Scarlett's scandal into a public spectacle, cementing her own standing in the eyes of the world. Yet, in Isabella's gaze, a flicker of deep sorrow lingers as she glances at Julian, her husband now standing silently, head bowed. As Scarlett is thrust out of the spotlight, Isabella stands tall, a triumphant warrior, though her heart remains heavy with a haunting question: can this victory heal the wounds of betrayal? In the heart of San Francisco, where dreams of technology and ambition collide, one scandal has reached its end, but a larger story still awaits. In the aftermath of the seismic scandal at San Francisco, where she outmaneuvered Scarlett Vane and safeguarded her empire, Isabella not only triumphed over betrayal, but also discovered a path to healing. While Los Angeles continues to shimmer with its dazzling allure, Isabella and Julian Prescott, the husband who once strayed, choose to step away from the spotlight to rebuild their love and trust. In a world brimming with drama and power, their story concludes not with vengeance, but with a fresh beginning, where the love of family becomes the flame illuminating their future. Following the climactic showdown at the Moscone Center, where Isabella turned the tables and shattered Scarlett's ambitions, she emerged as an icon of resilience in the public's eyes. With her razor-sharp intellect and the steadfast support of CFO Victor Lang, Isabella solidified her authority at Synergy AI, assuming the role of chief financial officer and transforming the company into an even mightier empire. Articles in Forbes and TechCrunch hailed her as an exceptional leader, a woman who rose above scandal to shine brilliantly. Yet, beneath the glamour, Isabella carried the scars of betrayal, a lingering pain that stirred each time she met Julian's eyes, the husband who had been ensnared in Scarlett's whirlwind. Meanwhile, Scarlett, who once dreamed of claiming the crown of high society, now languished in obscurity. Stripped of her reputation and the financial lifeline from Julian, she was forced to flee Los Angeles, where camera flashes were once her allies. Scarlett relocated to a small town in Oregon, living in a modest apartment and working for an obscure startup. The silk gowns and Beverly Hills galas were now nothing more than lavish memories. Each night, as moonlight streamed through her window, Scarlett confronted the truth that her ambition had led to her downfall. Yet, in that solitude, She began to reflect on her mistakes, unsure if a path to redemption could ever be found. At the heart of the story, Julian stood at a crossroads in his life. The San Francisco scandal jolted him awake from the haze of temptation. Recognizing the cost of his betrayal, he returned to the Bel Air mansion, kneeling before Isabella in a tear-filled night. Under the soft glow of the fireplace, he confessed every misstep from secret rendezvous with Scarlett to the empty promises he once believed. Julian didn't beg for forgiveness to cling to power, but to salvage his family. His pride, once clouded by the allure of fame, dissolved, giving way to the sincerity of a man desperate to start anew. Isabella, though her heart remained heavy, looked into Julian's eyes and saw genuine remorse. She thought of Theodore, their newborn son, who embodied hope and the future. For his sake, she agreed to give Julian a chance, but not an easy absolution. She demanded he abandon the glitz of Los Angeles, the extravagant parties, the billion-dollar deals. Julian, his heart now anchored to family, agreed without hesitation. They sold the Bel Air mansion and moved to a serene ranch on the outskirts of Santa Barbara, where fields of lavender stretched endlessly and the gentle sound of ocean waves lapped at the shore. There, Isabella and Julian began again, learning day by day to rebuild the trust that had been shattered. Each morning, Isabella walked Theodore along winding paths, embracing a peace Los Angeles could never offer. Julian, once a tech titan, found joy in tending the garden and playing with his son. Under the glow of sunsets, they sat together, sharing simple stories, slowly mending the wounds of the past. Their story is not just one of triumph over betrayal, but of the power of healing, where love and family rise above every challenge. In the gentle light of Santa Barbara, Isabella and Julian discovered a new beginning, where hearts were mended and hope was rekindled. But in California's unpredictable world, will this newfound happiness endure, or does another secret lie in wait to be uncovered?